Hello everyone, it is the build-up show. Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur at the Spurs shiny London stadium or something. I'm joined by Ross Chanley. Hi Ross.
Hi.
Good.
Long time no see.
Yeah. It's good,
Nice,
isn't it? Yeah. From home, Chris Page at the Mando legend, and the also legend, Mr. John Machin as well. Pretty good side we've got assembled here for this game in prospect. And look, Chris, I'll start with you on this because I know you've feeling a little bit battered and bruised by the whole world after having to cover the game against United. But what we were saying in the build up to that game I think remains true, and I think it's more exacerbated by it now that the margin for error's gone now. Because we said it at the time. You can lose the FA Cup, because let's be honest, we'd have been happy to still be in the FA Cup. We can all make our excuses for it as we have done for a number of years. I don't think there was any sense that Liverpool didn't want to go through it, so we can put that to one side. But the point is, getting back to winning ways in the Premier League is now all there is. They've been trying a whole host of different things. The only thing you can point to from that United game is that we at least finally scored a goal. But yeah, look, if Liverpool want to challenge for the title, then, this is it now. There can be no more, hand-wringing, if only X, Y or Z.
No, I think that's right, isn't it? The margin for error, as you say, is completely and utterly gone. Liverpool scored a couple of goals. They should feel a little bit more confident off the back of it. I expect the front three to start in this game, and that hopefully should mean that we're able to have even more attacking intent and show more attacking intent and verve than we did even against Manchester United, which for us was a much better performance in that sense. I think there was some major issues, as we discussed on the Final Word show, with Liverpool's all-round performance. Liverpool need to eradicate that. Liverpool need to make the ball over the top, not an issue. And Liverpool need to go out and put pressure on Tottenham Hotspur because, Liverpool, for the first time, look, I tend to look at the league on SofaScore rather than any others. And SofaScore has a 5-game form streak. We don't even have a win on the frigging column right now, which is really insane. And I heard Gareth Roberts, it was something on Twitter yesterday, and he's saying, look, only one team has strung a winning run of 5 games together this season. It's Manchester City. So it's still there for the taking. The teams still aren't firing on all cylinders quite like they have in previous years. So we just need to get back on the horse, get a victory under our belt, and hope for a little wind in our sails. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Metaphors.
I think that's it. And this is the thing, Dad, it's we're halfway through the season now. We've played everyone. We are where we are, and we're not. And let's be honest, where we are is not where we want to be. But it falls to Liverpool now to pick themselves up, as Chris says, and get on with it. We've dedicated hours this season talking about the centre-back issues. Liverpool will either sign a centre-half or they won't. But it won't change the fact that there's still 19 games of football to be played. And this doesn't strike me as a Liverpool side who will cower and go into a corner and have a cry about what they've not got. If they have the option there themselves to go and make the most out of this situation.
Well, as Chris said, no one's putting a string of games together, a string of wins. So if you can be the team that does it, then you're going to really press for certainly for top 4 and still for the title, because as I've said loads of times, I don't think it's going to be won by anything much more than about 82 points, and that's still well within our grasp. The season's mad. It's not like last season or the season before, when basically you had to win every game of football or you had no chance. It's a season where, well, it's a daft season, isn't it? But you've just got to get on and start winning football matches.
Yeah, it's we're 16th in the form table, Ross. I feel like, I came away from the United game at the weekend, and if, it's hard to unpick it from all the general run of bad form, but I did feel like that was the most likely Liverpool way to win a game of football in this recent run of games. There were far more positives in Liverpool's overall style of play than there have been for a number of times. But this is the point, I've been saying this for a few weeks now, Liverpool have got to get back. They've been rebuilding the midfield, they've been trying to get a song out of the defence, and they've been trying to play the forwards back into some vein of form. Well, they've not sorted the defence. The midfield seems to be getting a little bit better. Obviously, Thiago seems to be getting more and more match sharp, and we finally got some forwards, who are playing in decent form. Salah scoring a couple of goals, fantastic. but they need the win now.
Yeah,
because it's all well and good playing okay, but losing, but that's fucking loser talk, and I recognise it, and I'm trying to be very careful with how I analyse Liverpool at the moment, because we were like this under Rodgers and Evans and Houllier and Benitez at times, where you go, well, we played really well, but we lost. Well, I'd rather us play shit and win, and this might be the perfect example of that.
Yeah, I was encouraged when we did the watch longer, and I said when we scored the goals, let's just hope it counts, and that shows the shifting mentality in between fans, because I've never said that in the past 12 months, and that's just the stage we got to because of the form that we've spoken about. But I think there was tactical changes which give me encouragement, and that's one step of putting a decent performance or showing signs of decent performance. Getting a win is the next one, but committing more bodies forward. James Milner and Gini Wijnaldum were deep runners in that game, which opened up space for the front three, which gave them something to do. The problem is, and not just this game, but for the rest of the season, is Joel Matip. Now, he solves so many problems within that. So he doesn't play at the weekend because he's got to play midweek. Well, does he play one game and then he's out for one, and we just start calling him midweek Matip at this point, because that's the only times that he can go and play. But it has a knock-on effect with the rest of it. Now, Liverpool won't address the situation, which again we've done to death, but having him in there is another block to another decent performance for me, which will help us win games. But you need to keep him fit to be able to do that. So I've no doubt Mo Salah will be bang up for this game as well, because he looked dead pissed off when he scored, and rightly so, because he should be, because we've both been terrible from the goal. Yeah,
I think, look, this game has been on the horizon for a while, Chris, and that's why I talk about the margin for error being gone, because the FA Cup is not the league. We need to address, because you just need to address the league form very, very quickly. Liverpool should not be 16th in the form table ever, even when we're not, reigning champions of the Premier League. But I do feel as though the way the squad has been managed this last week was designed to come up against Tottenham Hotspur. The front three have all had the rest. The defence, various players, Matip's had his rest, and now they should be raring to go.
And fingers crossed Henderson's fit and available for this one as well. Obviously, we don't know where we're at with that, but let's hope that Jordan's able to go into the middle of the park. And, for me right now, I'm probably looking at it and going, if Jordan's fit and available, I'm throwing him in the 6, I want that extra little bit of height. I want that extra little bit of steel. I want that sideline to sideline sort of ability to help us cover for our fullbacks a little bit more if we're going to continue to keep pushing them forwards. But what I want most of all is Liverpool to get a win away from home, because we played 9 times away from home this season and won 2 of them. And that's not good enough for a team that wants to challenge for the Premier League title. You can talk about away form tables and all that, great, and I get that, and form's a massive thing. But we've only scored 16 in 9 games, and we've conceded 13 in our away games so far this season. For a team that wants to challenge for the Premier League title, we are 13th in the away form table, and that is nowhere near good enough at this stage of the season. We need to address that. We need to understand why that's happening, because it should be easier without fans, and yet it's not for us right now. So we need to address that first and foremost and get the win.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? That I don't know what. You just don't know what to expect, because we were talking about this about the Man United game, is that away from home, teams shouldn't be so deeply embedded because you've got the pressure of your own fans. Whereas I wonder if there's a degree to which more and more teams are going, well, I'm certain managers can just go, well, I don't care, I'm going to do whatever's required, and particularly Mourinho.
And I think the fact is the fans wouldn't matter either. That they wouldn't care whether their team sat deep if they're playing Liverpool and beating them, or at least stopping them winning. So I think, we've got the problem that teams will sit deep regardless. And we have to find a way to deal with that. And, getting your forwards firing again is a big step in the right direction. And having them all back firing, and if Matip comes back in, it gives a bit more confidence at the back as well, and that has a knock-on effect all over the pitch.
I just can't help but feel because I get me dad's point there, is that I think you can buy into, particularly because it's the champions. So it's easy, and given how good Liverpool are, and people will do this to Man City as well. They'll go, well, we understand the circumstances, so maybe we do jettison our style of play or whatever. But you can't unpick the nerves of fans, you're heading in the right direction. Fans are a great sort of indicator as to how you're playing. So if you silence the home fans, you know you're taking a step towards victory, because all of a sudden you've taken like 40,000 people out the equation. You've undercut what their team's doing, and there's the added pressure, and you can't help it. You know, I was saying the other day, there's no way we wouldn't have been Anfield chanting attack, 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 which is another great indicator that your side's not performing when your fans feel they have to tell you to attack games of football. And I think that's one thing from aways that, you know, I don't know why that is. Maybe that's another part and parcel of what this Liverpool side are very good at, because it shouldn't be an issue. It should be a bonus for us. But maybe that there's just something to, again, this side thriving on the I don't know, the needle of it all.
Yeah, possibly. I think it's that controlling the pressure, isn't it? Or satisfaction of controlling the pressure. The fact that, you know, if you silence so many fans. But I think, you know, the away support that Liverpool get, I think is phenomenal. You know, and it works both ways. When that crowd goes silent and you've got 3,000 Euro fans chanting at you, thinking, well, they've come all this way, they come to support us, we're doing it for them. But even stuff like, I said this about the league game against Manchester United, because the fans were missing, and at the first time I've really felt it. Even stuff like a tackle that G's a crowd up, and that's a turning point in some games, and what can lead to, you know, other things, or that pressure that you're kind of talking about.
Yeah, no, it feels adrenaline, doesn't it? Go on, Chris.
Yeah, there's another thing, isn't there? I think you kind of touched on it there, Paul, is that, you know, it's one thing silencing a crowd, and it's another thing putting the shitters up them. And that's what Liverpool with possession do. Like, you know, when you're whipping the ball in against Burnley, right, and you got 40 crosses and all that, crowds will get nervous regardless of whether Burnley are dealing with it, because they just think it's only going to take one more and it's going to go on the back of the net, and that sort of feeds its way down into the players, who then might show a little bit more nervousness, might just change something how they're dealing with it. Now you can just hear the manager go, this is brilliant, this is exactly what we talked about in the midweek, and they get emboldened from it, and it works the sort of opposite way, doesn't it?
There's a reason why, and it's a really crappy like lower league explanation, but lower league teams go there, oh, hey, when you take a goal kick. Like, I never experienced that at football match until I got taken to Tranmere Rovers games. But honestly, like, go and then try and take a goal. No, that's be Uncle's fault. But you know, it sounds daft. But if every time you go and perform a function, a bunch of people are basically going, oh, and even though it's something dead simple, you would start. You start to overthink.
You fat bastard!
Maybe not that so much, but yeah. Go on, Dad.
I was just thinking, one of the problems with our away form is basically not taking our chances. Yeah. We've dominated loads and loads of games, not taking any chances. It's still 0-0, and the away side go up the other end and stick one in the net. And it's as simple as that. Take your chances when they come, for God's sake. You know, we've got 3 of the best forwards in the world. Stick the ball in the net. Yeah, and it makes life so much easier.
Yeah, let's just do that. I don't know why. I can't believe no one said that before. Let's just. Jurgen's watching it going, oh, right, that's it. I've been waiting for the perfect expression, you know, this whole time. Just Jurgen, just do that. It makes perfect sense. Right, we're going to talk a little bit about how Liverpool should be lining up for this game after a very, very short break. But I do have a quiz question to tide you over until then. Liverpool have only ever played in their entire history 2 teams that begin with the letters T-O-T. Name the one that isn't Spurs after the break.
When you first come in, you take stock immediately, as I did, and then you build a 100-day plan. You immediately, as I did, within 3 weeks of my official start date was June 1st, call a town hall meeting. And I said, all right, where do we have town halls? Well, we really don't have town halls. Well, we're having town halls. And I said, I want a cool, funky place. I want to change the culture of a rather stiff environment with kind of shirts and ties everywhere. You know, what's that all about? And I wanted people to be comfortable. And we changed the vibe a little bit in Chapel Street. And first meeting we had was I stood on stage in Camp and Furnace in the Baltic. I said, I think the Baltic is the coolest part of Liverpool. It reminds me of South Market in San Francisco, old warehouses, digital companies moving in, you know, kind of a media hub. Go find somewhere where we can and then have a few beers afterwards. And because we're talking about 400 or 500 people being here. And I'm sure you've been to Camp and Furnace, and you just lay out, everybody just grabbed beers on the picnic tables, and I stood there probably for too long, about an hour, outlining my strategy, what I felt needed to be, and it was tied around really, you know, community, commercial, civic, culture, a lot of C's, and figuring out how we evolve this football club and do everything to build what I call a virtuous cycle, which is we got to get as much money into the club as we can to provide the football operations team with all the resources they need to go get the best players to give us success on the pitch. You get success on the pitch, sponsors want to be a part of you, right? Sponsors want to be a part of you. The checks they write to you get bigger. You get success on the pitch, everybody wants to watch your games live. If your games are live, you get what's known as a facilities fee, and you actually have got better engagement. And so this longer term view I had of engaging people, eventually years down the road, leads to commercial growth.
Do check out that the mini-series with Peter Moore, former Liverpool CEO. Fascinating insight into the life and times of the man. Some brilliant anecdotes from his time at the club and before as well. So the question was, Liverpool have only played 2 teams beginning with the letters T-O-T. Name the one that isn't Spurs, Mr. Chris Pajak.
Total Network Solutions.
Total Network Solutions. Well done.
TNS, baby.
You know what? I was searching I was looking for a quiz question and I was typing in Tottenham, and halfway through it, it filtered it down to Total Network Solutions. Tottenham went, and I clicked through Tottenham and then went, back. Okay. Yeah, why not? That'll do it. Well done, Chris Pajak, nailed it.
I was going to guess Tottenham reserves.
Tottenham reserves. No.
Which is technically right.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
But, you took a shot.
I did.
Yeah.
Missed.
Yeah, but exactly, but this is fine. It's something to build from.
Thanks, Paul.
Right, yeah, if you got that right, you're an absolute genius. Treat yourself to a thumb up on the video. Ross.
Yeah.
I can't see a world where the front 3 don't all come back in for this game. They've all had a little bit of rest and rotation. Yeah. Salah's back in the goals. Firmino's back in the assists. Mane's back.
Yeah, they've been managed, haven't they?
Yeah.
Mane was the one who I think he got just under half an hour against Man United at the weekend, so you expect him to fully start that. Bobby got 2 assists, but Salah got 2 goals. Perfect reason to start them, and we don't have any other options up top currently. So I can't see where anything else happens. It wouldn't. In fact, it wouldn't.
It could be Minamino again if he was sat at home. It just goes.
Do you know what's the worst thing about that? He was on all the promo stuff for the United game at the weekend with all the on the social accounts. I was like, oh, he must be starting. Like, no, it's still not happening. He might be an outside shout to start, but he's not.
I can't see a world now. Look, Chris, we're laughing. I said ahead of the United game, if he doesn't start this game, you might as well just sell him, because I don't know what the point of him is. And then we started Curtis Jones left wing.
Yeah, baffling, mate. I'd really love some clarification on what is or isn't happening behind the scenes here. Like, I don't normally get really angry with a lack of news from the football club because I'm used to it, but he played.
Do you reckon no one's told him where the new training centre is?
That might be the thing. It might just be the thing, Paul, because something's either happened or not happened. And that not happening might just be that he's dead shit. But every time I've seen him play, I've seen a little bit of something. The Palace game was brilliant. I've no idea what's happened. Like, now, is he training? Does anyone know if he's training?
Yeah, I believe so. He's there.
So he's not got COVID-19.
No, because he's on the bench, isn't he? Like, he's there every week. He warms up.
I don't know. I never see him on the bench. I just see his name on the team sheet. I never actually see him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ross, the last time out at Anfield against them, it was a back four of Robertson, Trent at the fullbacks, Fabinho, Reece Williams, midfield 3, Hendo, Gini, Kurt, and then the front 3. Mm-hmm. It's mad to think that we walked out of that game figuratively. Thinking Reece Williams, wow, Sam, what a young talent. He had a really good game, handled Spurs really well there. I don't think any of us feels that degree of confidence around him anymore. I don't think the Man United game aided him in that regard.
I don't think he feels like that either.
No, which is a shame, because we did the final word and we didn't really talk about the good things he did. I think largely he handled Cavani pretty well, and this might yet be a game where Harry Kane actually might be all right against Harry Kane, but I don't know. We've got Thiago available to us now, and if you've got Matip available to you, you're putting Thiago in instead of Curtis Jones, and you're putting Matip in instead of Reece Williams. That's as good a team as we're likely to be able to field this season, with the exception maybe of Diogo Jota at some point.
Currently our best side.
Yeah.
Obviously not on form, but in terms of fitness and ability wise, I think so. Reece Williams will have good games and bad games for the rest of his Liverpool career. If he stays here till the summer and then he's gone, because he's a child. He's still learning. He's learning on the job. He's learning on our books, which you don't like. And we said yesterday, he made 3 three big mistakes, one which led to a goal yesterday, but he still remained composed, and somebody never lost his head, which we've seen happen with previous Liverpool players and a certain goalkeeper. He's fine in that sense, but because of what we were talking about before, it being so tight in the league, we can't really afford to have him in league games because we drop more points now and just making winning the title more difficult for ourselves. But we're in a situation where Joe Matip might play this game and he might be out for 3 weeks, but just play, in my opinion. I think having Gini, Henderson, if he's available, and Thiago in that midfield is the best solution. Tottenham's midfield of like Posse and Ndombele is in good form. Sissoko's physical, so you've got Gini to kind of try and counter that, and Højbjerg, who's kind of defensive sweeper to protect the back line. I think you've got Thiago who can break the lines in between that. And again, there's no one else who would possibly play. Curtis Jones, I thought, was great when he dropped into a deeper position against Manchester United, but would have started him? Probably not. Yeah,
the Henderson one's big. Dad and Chris had kind of touched upon it before. There's a real case to put Jordan Henderson straight into the six there. He's just a little bit taller, if nothing else. It just gives you a bit more of a physical presence. But it's like, do we need Jordan Henderson, the energy, the full energetic, every blade of grass Jordan Henderson, up and down the right hand side, supporting the right flank? Or, is there something there where you go to Thiago, actually, you know what, we want to just push you a bit further forward? I mean, the good thing in there is there's some options, but if it was up to you, what would you go with? Provided Hendo's fit, of course.
I'd like to see Thiago further forward, but I don't think we will, which is a shame. But I think Henderson will be all over the pitch because he always is, and that energy will be quite vital to how well our midfield performs. Klopp seems to see Thiago as lying deep, so someone said, I don't know, it might have been Chris last time out, that having Van Dijk missing and having his long passes not there anymore, that Thiago playing deeper will compensate to some extent for that. I don't know whether that's the reasoning, but it just seems to me that's where he's playing him every week.
It's hard to judge, isn't it? Because we just haven't had... I mean, yeah, I agree in so much as I feel as though Thiago, even given the choice of Henderson, might continue in the six, because you could play Gini. You could have played Gini in the six at any point. If you were certain that Thiago was needed in one of the eights, like that was his best position, there would have been no issues, I think, with putting Gini in the six.
I do like Wijnaldum in the six, and he's very good in the air as well.
Yeah.
So I think he can give you a lot in that position. He's very tenacious, isn't he? And but whoever they put there, that is, as Ross said, that's our best midfield at the moment. So.
I mean, there's a degree of flexibility.
I mean, there's no reason why they can't interchange and move around and try and cause problems for the opposition by doing things they're not expecting. It's why Matip is good in that he comes out of defence a lot, and that moving into midfield does really give you an extra little boost in there. Just as long as he stays fit for the whole 90 minutes.
Yeah, good luck with that, everyone. Chris, what's your thoughts on the midfield balance thing there? Because, like I say, I completely agree with your notion of Jordan Henderson. He's still our most established available number six. He's still, second choice, I guess, if you were looking at the pecking order. But as I say, with the Thiago stuff, we just don't know. We just don't know enough about him. I don't know whether he's been playing in the six because that's where Klopp wants him, or is he playing there just out of necessity?
I don't know. Liverpool were winning more games of football without Thiago. If you want to look at almost the stats of it all, and Liverpool were winning games and scoring goals and keeping it shut at the back a little bit better with Henderson and with Wijnaldum and Curtis Jones. Now I appreciate that we've had to get Thiago up to speed, and I think Thiago's a much better player than Curtis Jones is right now and where he is in his career, and but we need a win. And to me, I think something needs to change for that win to happen. I don't think we can do the same again, and maybe that changes just Thiago having a little bit more fitness, having a little bit more understanding of the role and what's around him. Maybe that changes. Stop changing the midfield around Thiago and playing with the same lads. 2 weeks on the bounce, he'd probably enjoy that, because it's difficult because he's the constant now. Yeah. Everyone else is the one moving in and out. Yeah. And so that's difficult for him as well. And I think that's something that we're probably forgetting at times.
He's speed dating in midfield at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And in the same way that Fabinho's doing exactly the same behind. So It's just difficult for them all, isn't it? So all of these things have an impact on the performance. You know, I think that Liverpool need to put Jordan Henderson in the midfield, in the 6. I'd play Gini Wijnaldum and I'd play Thiago with him. If that's not the midfield 3, I might look to try and just jumpstart this and put Henderson in with Gini Wijnaldum and Kurt Jones and go and get a win. This is all assuming that Joel Matip's fit, of course.
Well, this is a lot of this underpinned on this, isn't it, Ross? Is because, of course, let's say we're saying Matip's fit, because I think if Matip's fit, I think him and Fabinho start. I don't think there's any doubts or questions over any of that. But if Matip then isn't fit, do you go with Reece Williams again at centre-half, knowing that he's had a bit of a tricky time since Tottenham Hotspur? Or do you embolden him, knowing that he was okay in that game and maybe there's just Spurs' skill set isn't as damaging to him and you can still stick with having your best midfield almost available?
I don't know what the right option is anymore, to be honest, perfectly honest with you, Paul. Not Reece Williams. I think his confidence is completely on the floor. I wouldn't put him in front of this one. Nat Phillips might be a shout for this one, but has he got the pace to deal with Harry Kane and Son? Is another question. If Jordan Henderson's fit, you put him at centre-half. Is that your best option going forward? He's signing a fucking centre-half. It's the best option at this point. Yeah, just do that, please, Liverpool. I think I'd be tempted, if Matip's not fit, I think I'd be tempted to go with Jordan Henderson if he's fit, which again is a massive risk, but this is a situation we find ourselves in, and then play Curtis Jones, Gini and Thiago in midfield.
Yeah, you could definitely do worse than that. My thing about this is because we referenced on the last couple of shows the whole, like, you know, doing the same things and expecting different results is madness, but I don't think that's where we're at, you know, because of, Chris kind of hinted at it there, we're treating Thiago as though he's fully formed and fully ready and fully integrated into the team. And I've been saying this for weeks now. We've been rebuilding a midfield on the fly, which is what, and it's been incrementally, I think, improving. Now the problem, of course, is it's not measurable. That is not a measurable thing because we've changed the personnel. We keep changing at least one of those midfield. It's been Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones, Jurgen Shaqiri, and James Milner who've all played as the third man in that midfield in recent weeks. So if you were a scientist looking to sort of
there too, Paul.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. Add another one to the list.
Yeah. If you're trying to determine whether it's getting better or not, it's hard to, because it's a different graph almost every single week.
And also the work that he's got to do defensively as well. Now, you know, he probably changed his game a little bit, or certainly his mentality. I think Reece Williams is behind me. Trent's leaving massive gaps. I can't do my own job because I'm trying to do the work and protect that back line as well. It takes away from everything that Thiago is and what he brings to this side.
Yeah, the problem with Thiago, and I don't want to get into this, like, the big problem, because we've all said things that could be construed as though we think Thiago shouldn't be playing, you know, which I think is a bit of a fucking nonsense in the wider sense. But what it is, Dad, is that he shouldn't be anchoring Liverpool's midfield. He's really good. He's really bits and pieces tidy. He is tenacious. He's tigerish. He gets stuck into tackles. He's good at winning the ball back, but he is a bit rash and he is quite small. I particularly against Tottenham Hotspur, you know, look, he'll get better with those, but I don't think Thiago's going to get to a point where he's a soul. He's capable of anchoring the midfield to the level of Jordan Henderson or Fabinho, because I don't think he's really good at those things, but he's so good at all the other stuff. I just want him focusing on those things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about him to know what his best position is. What I've seen of him is that his ability to pass a football, you know, and to pass it in places where it's not expected is his major asset for us. And, you know, I tend to think that would be better off if he was higher up the pitch. But, you know, I don't know. Can he anchor the midfield? I just don't know. I mean, I don't think his height has anything to do with it, to be honest. Yeah. Just don't put him on the end of your defensive wall when there's free kicks being taken. Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Dad.
I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I still think he's trying to work his way into the team. He's still playing footballs that people don't understand, you know, because he's playing, they're not on the same wavelength.
He's playing himself back into form, you know, playing himself back into fitness. I think we talk about this all the time. I remember Wayne Rooney when he signed for Man United and he'd been out with a long injury, and he literally came straight back from injury into the United team, and I think he's got a hat-trick on his debut. Might have been in the Champions League. Yeah, he was class, and then basically he fell to bits for a few weeks afterwards because his adrenaline had got him through that. Thiago's into the sticky patch of it now, where you've just got to play 5 or 10 games back to back and get yourself to the best of your ability. My thing with him, Chris, is that I look at him and he does. I can understand why he looks great in the midfield too, because if you put an enforcer alongside him and let him do his business, that would be great. But at the moment, I think he's shouldering the burden of having to hold the midfield together in every aspect. And I think that's, just the amount of he's got a stupid late slidey in him every game at the moment. And I just don't feel like he needs to be able to do that. But he needs to do that because of the nature of him, that role he's playing.
Yeah, look, when I think about Thiago, when I think about, why Liverpool signed him and stuff like that, I'm looking at it and going, was he signed as a replacement for Fabinho? Does anybody truly believe he was signed as a replacement, a lad who's 2 years older than Fabinho, to be his replacement? If you can tell me that, then he's the number 6 for Liverpool Football Club. And I can see that nobody is suggesting that he was signed as Fabinho's replacement. Therefore, it stands to reason that he's not Liverpool's number 6 in a 1.
Yeah,
he may be part of a pair of defensive midfielders or whatever. Situations have changed, and right now he's being asked to fulfill a function that I don't think that he was signed for. And he's done a good job, and he's into the hard yards, as you say, Paul. But I don't think he's Liverpool's number 6 long term on its own in this midfield 3, and I don't think anybody would suggest that he is either.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to add to what you were saying before about those tackles that he's making. I think he was unlucky against Southampton. I think it was like a clash of the back of the legs or something. But he's making these rash challenges because it's the last line of defence. Is the defence. If he's in that more advanced role, he doesn't need to make those challenges because Fabinho's there to sweep up for that.
Exactly that. That's what I'm kind of saying. I think that he's capable. It's the same way Jordan Henderson's capable of playing centre-half and Fabinho's more than capable of playing centre-half. But we're seeing it all over. There's a bunch of lads and they're all okay. They're all really good and they're good enough to do a whole variety of situations, but you know what the groove looks like. And I don't think we've seen Thiago in the groove just yet. And I wonder whether that is, if you can get Jordan Henderson back into the midfield, I would really like to see him play. I don't care which side, but maybe, if we're saying that the left-hand 8 is a bit more centre-mid, play him in the Wijnaldum position and then the other side can do the box-to-box stuff. I would be fascinated to see how that turns out. And maybe, sorry Ross, one last point, is that Wijnaldum playing the right-hand side against Man United might lead us slightly towards that because Milner's not going to play every game in midfield. It was a bit weird actually moving Gini for that. Whereas a game where give Gini another game of football where he actually is playing the more box to box side, and then you can just drop Thiago into that left hand of the 3.
And you've got Gini and Henderson to fill in for Trent when he bombs forward, because I think that's something that we were desperately lacking. I know it's more so against Man United because we had Williams at the back and Trent was just getting forward, but I saw Trent getting slated for his defensive work. He can't do both of these. He's a lad who can't win, and it doesn't help that Robertson does both at the same time as well, which is just absolutely mad. But if you've got 2 lads to drop in and cover him, then you've got Trent to bomb forward and support Salah at the same time as well, which gives you more options up top.
Yeah, absolutely. Fascinating stuff. And game
Paul, can I offer something on Thiago as well? I think it's clear to me that the 8's a much more difficult position to play for Liverpool. I think you've got defensive responsibilities. I think you've got offensive responsibilities. But I think from a fitness standpoint, if you're coming back from a long-term injury, the 6 is probably the easiest position of the midfield 3 to come back into. Do you think that's fair? Because Thiago is coming back off a bit of a long-term injury and he is building up his fitness, and we were woefully short of midfield options at the time when he came back in. And I just wonder whether that was why we could get more minutes out of Thiago for a sustained amount of time by playing him that 6th and burning him out, coming back into the 8 and asking him to do that role.
Yeah, and also he is a lad who's very good with having the pitch in front of him. So you're right, that midfield position's probably more recognisable to him just to slot into. There's probably loads more work required of those 8s. We see it very, very difficult to be allowed to do that, and his overall level of ability. We kind of had this with a bit not this exactly what you're saying there, but when we threw Naby Keita and we signed Keita and he started the season and he was good, but he wasn't a world beater. But his general level of talent meant that he could just slot in. But if you really want, to be in the best functioning midfield, you've got it takes a lot to get in there. But no, I think that's really interesting. I agree. I just think, we saw it. I'm hanging my hat on that, on the midfield that started the Everton game of Fabinho, Thiago and Henderson, and saying that'll be that. That's where we want Henderson's. Klopp actually referenced it. Klopp actually talked about Jordan. He referred to him as a box-to-box player last last week when he talked about him playing centre half. He said he's not a DM, he's a box-to-box midfielder. So clearly, like, you know, ideal world scenario. I mean, actually, maybe that informs it. Maybe it depends. What would Klopp rather? Would he rather Henderson's energy, or does he want Thiago being on the ball slightly further up the field? And that's, I mean, it'll tell us a lot.
Depending on the opponent as well. Yeah. I think, you know, energy provided for a Spurs game. What if you're doing another different kind of low blocking at Burnley, or, you know, someone further down? I think you mix it up a little bit. But just on that as well, I think as we're talking, we're saying all these teams that we kind of played, we're not getting consistent results. We've never had a consistent team for 2 games on the run. When's the last time same team started twice in a week?
It's been a nightmare, hasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I'd just like to say that the position that I think that Thiago ends up in for Liverpool is very much Toni Kroos when he was at the absolute peak of his powers for Real Madrid. You know, when we played them in the Champions League final, Toni Kroos was quarterbacking the entire affair from sort of a deep left midfielder type of role, very difficult to pick up. No one's really over there. I think that's probably where Thiago is for us, a bit of a deep line playmaker, a little bit more Gini Wijnaldum. But let Henderson do the running for the midfield and let Fabinho be the destroyer. That's where I see it, which is the Everton midfield, by the way.
Next year is going to be boss. Oh, no, I said it, shit. 25th of January.
Lad.
Oh, next year, fuck. It's not the earliest I've said it, but dear God. Next
year
we go.
I'll be 40, Paul. Next year's
wow.
not going to be boss. I'm going to be 40 next year.
Who had that in the Liverpool fan bingo? Right, okay, let's have some score prediction. In fact, just briefly, let me just look at the other fixtures because I think it's quite interesting. In terms of our supposed rivals, Southampton, Arsenal, depends whether you consider them rivals for the 6th and 7th positions in the league, which we will be. West Brom hosting Man City. Chelsea host Wolves. Chelsea having presumably well sorted by now sacked Frank Lampard, which is
Tuchel, isn't it?
Tuchel, yeah, wow. Man United host Sheffield United.
Frank dirty there, hasn't he? Brings him in on a little 1-year deal, and Tuchel's like, Frank shit, Tuchel's the man. Frank shit, Tuchel's the man. Bring him in.
Yeah, I'd be all over Ryan Brewster actually not being crap and scoring a goal against United and then giving it having his Champions League winners medal.
Oh, yeah.
And he pulls it off and he's got it there. Does the little haircut thing. Yeah, it's a celebration.
The team photo with it on. Me, I'd be like, Conor McGregor coming out there with the medal on and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Everton hosting.
The medal to kiss it. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. All of that. Everton hosting Leicester, that's a massive game. And then, of course, we're the last of that midweek bunch on the Thursday against Tottenham Hotspur. Interesting stuff indeed. Score predictions, Ross, what do you think?
1-0 Liverpool.
Dad?
2-1.
Okay.
Yeah,
Chris?
it's Liverpool are going to concede at some point during the game, and we just have to hope that Liverpool can score 2 goals in the game again. It's 2-1.
Yeah, I'll take a 2-1 to Liverpool on this one. A nice late heartbreaker where we just come up and actually we're the ones who score a late winning goal for the first time in a while. Just to really... I
do that. I need us to just get... I just need us to get goals.
Two goals in the first 10 minutes and then just defend against Mourinho.
God.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Out Mourinho.
That'd be even worse. I would rather us score... Yeah, I'd rather us score a last-minute winner than have to defend even a 2-goal lead for 90 minutes against any side at this point.
It'd be great to just see Matip being brought on in the 95th minute as a third centre half, like the good old days. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you'd
definitely.
see Harry Kane looking up to find Son and not being able to see him because of all the bodies in front of him.
Okay,
parked in front, absolutely. Yeah, parked in front of the defence, absolutely. Let us know your score predictions in the comment section underneath. What team do you think should start? Where would you play if you've got Henderson and Thiago available for your midfield? Who would be playing the 6 and who would be playing the 8?
Wijnaldum in the 6.
Oh, go on. Well, there you go. There's another.
Thiago in his rightful position and Henderson in his rightful position. Only making one change then. Wijnaldum.
Nailed it. Okay, let's just do that.
And he's not going to sign a new contract, so we don't care. Just
Run him into the
Run him
ground.
into the ground.
That's what I say. Right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for the build-up show. We'll be back post-match, of course, with the usual wrap-up content and all the build-up shows, build-ups every game. But if you want to join us live, we will be there Thursday night, 15 minutes before kick-off for the live watch-along commentary. Come and join in for all that stuff. It should be very, very good indeed, and we'll see you there. Ta-ra.